What's up, everybody? It's Greg. So today we are going to talk about how to make money in our sleep, because hey, who doesn't want to make money with putting forth as little effort as possible, right? Yes, I am talking about that wonderful thing called passive income that requires little to no work. This channel is all about helping people with their personal finances, teaching them how to invest in passive income streams to increase their income, and to give you updates in the financial world. So if you are new, please consider subscribing. Now let's get back to the real stuff. There are many different forms of passive income. My personal favorite is rental properties. I love rental properties because not only do I invest in a hard asset such as a house, but I also can use the bank's money to leverage, and then that way I don't have as big of an upfront cost to be able to invest in this passive income stream, and the returns are awesome. My whole goal with passive income is to eventually make enough passive income that I have more passive income than I have active income, so I have more income coming from real estate or dividends or things like that than I do when I go to work and get a paycheck. So in this video, I'm going to tell you about my journey to buying my first house, which I did about a year ago, as well as give you tips on what you need to consider when buying a rental property. So let's do this. All right, so my journey into buying rental properties to increase my passive income really started when I bought a house that had a studio apartment, and I converted that into an Airbnb, much to the advice of my wife. Thankful for her because she is the one who really started all of this. So I started an Airbnb. I will leave a link in the cards as well as a link in the description if you want to go check out how I created that Airbnb. After I created that Airbnb, I said, you know what? Let's see if we can rent out a travel trailer. So I went and bought a camp trailer and I started renting that out. So the Airbnb led to the travel trailer, and then the travel trailer ended up going and saying, hey, there's a great opportunity for a long-term rental. So I went and bought my first rental house. When I look at rental properties, I view them almost purely from a cash flow standpoint. So to break it down in really easy terms, I essentially just want something that brings in more cash than it takes to have it. So I just want to make sure my income is greater than my expenses. Really, really simple. But I think that is the biggest thing when you're looking for a rental property is you've got to analyze the cash flow. All right, so here are my 5 tips for deciding whether or not to buy a rental property. My first advice is to find somewhere where rentals are in high demand, because then that means not only will you have a tenant because your rental will be in demand, but you'll also be able to charge premium because when demand is high, prices generally rise. Really, tips 2, 3, and 4 all kind of are lumped in together, but we're going to go over them separately. So tip number 2 is to find a rental, obviously, that can cover its mortgage, because when you invest, you're likely going to go and put a down payment down, and then you are going to have a mortgage on that rental property. And obviously, you need rent to cover that mortgage. I don't want to invest in a property where my rent collected is less than my mortgage, because then I'm already in the red and that's no bueno. Tip number 3, after you are able to cover your mortgage, then you need to cover routine expenses. So depending on the agreement that you have with your tenant, you may have to do the landscaping or pay the utilities or things like that. So you need to make sure that the rent that you collect can cover those expenses as well. So after I know that the rent can cover the mortgage and can cover all the routine expenses, this is where I really view things as a cash flow standpoint. I want to know if the rent that I collect, if I can save that up in a year and cover any big surprises. So if my water heater goes out or if a furnace needs to be replaced, those are expensive things to change in a house. And so I want to make sure that the rent that I collect can handle an emergency if it were to happen. And I do that mostly because it's a peace of mind thing. Like, I know if anything major happens on my rental property, I'll be able to cover that. And most likely those things don't happen every single year. So to know if every single year I will have enough to buy a new furnace, then I know I'm going to be making money off of that rental property. So for example, on the rental property that I bought in June of 2019, it makes enough money to obviously cover its mortgage, cover any routine expenses, which luckily I don't have a whole lot, except for I do cover utilities because that was how our rental agreement was written. And then it makes about $400 to $500 a month on top of all of that. So net, I make $400 to $500, which adds up to be right around $6,000 a year off of that one rental property. And I know that, hey, if my furnace goes out, $6,000 a year is enough to buy a new furnace. Luckily, I haven't had to, so that extra $6,000 is just income. All right, so my last tip number 5 for buying a rental property is make sure that you have enough money in place with you to be able to cover the expenses of that rental property if you do not have a tenant for a while. I like to find a rental property that I know I can cover for a while, just in case some reason I don't have a tenant for a while. But if you follow tip number 1, which is finding a place with a high demand for rentals, then you shouldn't have to worry about this one for too long, but it's still nice to know that for short term, you'll be able to cover all of the expenses on that rental property if you lose a tenant. As explained in the video where I told you how I was able to buy a travel trailer for free, I will leave a link in the cards and in the description, but in that video I explained how I just don't want debt, right? That's the best thing to do, is get out of debt as quickly as possible. So I took my AirBNB income, I threw it all onto the trailer. I was able to pay off the trailer really quickly, and then I took all the trailer income. I also put that on the trailer, so it went down really fast. Now I'm taking the Airbnb income, the trailer income, and it's all getting thrown onto the principal of this rental property so that I can pay off this rental property as quickly as possible. It also allows me to build up equity in that house just in case I want to pull that out and go buy another rental property. So take all of your passive income and just keep reinvesting it. It's almost like a debt snowball that's explained by Dave Ramsey, where you just kind of keep going and pay things down as quickly as possible. I do that with all of my passive income so that I can, 1, not be in debt, 2, have the money if need be to go and move on another passive income stream, to invest in another passive income stream. Plus, getting out of debt just gives me a whole lot of peace of mind, and having passive income streams really helps me be as self-reliant as possible, meaning I am 100% able to handle all of my expenses for my family by myself. That is my goal, is to have passive income that is greater than my active income, because then I would be truly self-reliant. I am not reliant on a boss or a job or anything like that. I am just reliant on myself. I have created enough income to handle everything that I need. And really, isn't everybody just trying to do that? They are just trying to get enough money that they can live off of investments. That's what retirement is. And so if I can do that now when I'm in my 30s, then I'm going to be able to retire early, or at least be extremely comfortable in retirement and be able to help a lot of people and pay it forward. Thanks for watching. Just like I said, this channel is all about being better with our personal finances, being able to invest in passive income streams to become more self-reliant. So if you have not subscribed yet, go down, click that red button, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys next time.